Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Kim with Kim's Inspired Life, and this is my friend Cindy. She is a wonderful cookie maker and decorator, and she came over last week to show me how to work with royal icing. I've never done it actually, and I was so excited to learn. Okay, so tell me what you brought.
Okay, I brought royal icing.
Okay, and you're gonna have to tell me how you make it.
Yes, I will.
Is it hard?
No.
Okay.
It's very easy. And then I like to use sanding sugar to accent things with, and I'll show you why, because it makes it glitzy.
Where do you get sanding sugar?
Wilton is the cake decorating company that you'll see, Wilton brand everywhere.
Right.
You can get that at Joann's,
Michael's.
Hobby Lobby has their own brand.
Oh, they do. And is it the same?
It's pretty much the same.
Okay. So is that what this is?
These are Wilton, so they're from probably from Joann's.
And it's just called
a sanding sugar.
Sanding
these have
sugar.
bigger crystals. Some of these have smaller crystals that that are a little finer. I like the finer ones.
Okay.
Sometimes it's hard to find. This is, I think, a little bit finer.
Okay.
Because then your snowflakes look like snow.
Okay.
And those are just some leftover sprinkles that I think were left over from last year. So just because they're cute.
Fun.
And to color that looks like it's from Walmart. To color the icing, I use gel colors, not the colors that you get at the grocery store in the
The
those
little
little
ones,
like
yeah,
they
the
use
squirty ones.
The squirty. Don't use those.
And where do you get these?
These are the ginormous size, because there was a time I was doing lots of this. So this is from Hobby Lobby.
Okay.
And then I use the disposable bags.
Okay.
Because life is too short to clean those stupid bags. And they're pretty good quality.
Okay.
I buy them in like the huge package, and then I use my coupon.
Good.
And then I get 40% off
Okay.
because I'm cheap like that. But you can get them in much smaller quantities if you wanted to do them. So, and this is a good size. I'm not sure. This is 16-inch. I don't know. But they last me a long time.
Okay.
So you put the frosting in these little bags. And then
All right, what in the world is all that? Okay, I have to look at that.
These are, okay. If I knew I was going to be on video, I would have made this a little more organized. These are like all of my cake decorating tubes, tips and tubes that I've collected over the years, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, miscellaneous things.
Oh, it's a light bulb.
These are called couplers, and what these do is allow you to change the tip. Because you could just put your frosting in here and snip off the tip. And that'll work for a lot of what we're going to do. But if you want to get fancy and do outlines and different shapes of things when you squeeze it, you're going to use the tips. But what if you have this one inside and then all of a sudden you want to write your name on there with the same color? Then you're up the creek. So the coupler, this part goes inside, this part goes on the outside, and it allows you to change the tips.
Got it.
So you can just change tips. And it'll make sense when the frosting gets in the bag.
Okay.
So that's what these are. And then these are smaller versions of those colors that you can get at the cake decorating store. And these are from Hobby Lobby. So, chances are it's the same manufacturer.
Okay.
So, because they seem pretty darn close. So, the cookies that you made.
They're not perfect.
That's okay, because we're going to be covering them with frosting, so no one will ever even know.
Well, I will say Zoe and I made the cookies that Zoe and I made. So I made round mostly.
Okay.
But I
well, wasn't that video good that I sent you?
That was cute.
Were you able to watch it? Yeah, it was really cute. But I can teach you the principles of what we're doing, and then you can just have a field day.
Well, I was going to make some shape. I did make some stars, but the kids I think ate them. So I thought, round would just be easiest to start.
To learn with, because you can make them look very Christmassy and it doesn't matter. And I've even seen some that are like they look like sticks, you know, that are just like long rectangles that are very clever the way people have decorated. It's going to be fun, but it is time consuming mixing up a bunch of different colors.
Okay,
you know,
that's the hardest. So you just make one and then you put all the different and then.
Well, you make the royal icing, and that is powdered sugar, and it takes meringue powder. So meringue powder is something that you buy at the Michaels or whatever, and you have to
I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, you
I've
can make royal icing with egg whites, but then you get in the whole egg thing.
Okay, so
you know, it's way too complicated.
What's I'll write down.
I can write the recipe. It's like 1 bag of powdered sugar, which is 2 pounds, and then it's 12 tablespoons of water to 6 tablespoons of meringue powder. And that I buy in the biggest quantity, and they use it 40% off.
Is the recipe on there?
Yes. It may say for 1 pound of powdered sugar, which is the box.
Yeah.
But mostly people nowadays get the
I buy it in the bag, 2 pounds.
And so you have to double the recipe. That's why I'm telling you 12 tablespoons and 6, because I've doubled the recipe. 12 tablespoons is actually 3/4.
So it's just water, meringue,
and a little tiny bit of flavoring. You cannot get anything greasy in contact with this when you're making it.
What's the flour? What's the flavoring?
I just flavored mine today with a few drops of almond extract.
Oh,
but it basically doesn't taste very good. It's not great, but when you put it on a cookie, you sort of don't notice that part. Royal icing doesn't taste as good as regular frosting does. It's all about the looks.
Oh.
So you can flavor it with anything, but don't use oil-based flavorings. Just use extracts, which are like alcohol-based.
Okay. How far in advance do you make it before you?
I usually make it the day of, or right before I'm decorating it.
Oh, okay.
You can make it in advance, and sometimes if it starts to separate or get a little funky, you can just remix it, reheat it.
Okay, so just make it right before you're getting ready. I didn't know if you had to put it in the refrigerator.
When you store it, you don't need to refrigerate it because there's nothing in there that needs refrigeration. Okay. But you do need to store it in something that is absolutely 100% grease-free. And your plastic containers, a lot of times will often have a little bit of grease, even if you just taken them out of the dishwasher. Okay. So you really need to trust your container.
I want to look at the consistency to make sure that I know.
We're also going to be changing this consistency because you do a couple things with it. But it's okay. Yeah, I can kind of. And I tasted this earlier. It tasted to me like soap.
Really?
Yeah. Does this taste like soap to you?
Taste some soap.
I think it tastes like soap.
What's it taste like?
It tastes like soap.
It tastes just like any other regular
soapy
icing.
marshmallows. That's what it tastes like.
It looks very much like that white marshmallowy.
It does look like marshmallows because meringue. I mean. Egg whites.
Okay. All right. So I see the consistency. Yeah. So it's thicker than I actually thought it was.
So it's pretty thick, but then we're going to be thinning it down. So we're going to need water too. I put this part on the inside. Okay. And then the lid, you can screw on the outside.
Okay.
And then you fold it down. And there you go. Okay, so you have it ready to go. If you don't fold it down, it makes a big mess. Okay. So this is nice. And some people also put this in a glass, like a drinking glass.
I've seen,
hold it up.
I've seen that.
And that's clever, but we don't have to do that. And then we're going to give ourselves a little bit of regular consistency white because you're always going to need, you know, like Santa's beard and stuff. So we're going to use a little white. So you kind of think about what colors we need. Now see, when you squeeze that, it's not going to go down because that's why we needed the scissors. And then this part, you need to twirl nicely because this part will dry out and get all crusty and stuff and sometimes give you problems. If you have a bunch of little girls.
I do have. I have thousands of them. Okay. So there's other uses for them other than their hair. Yes. Yeah, I buy them like by the thousand, literally.
Yeah. And I think most of them are in the drawer at home. But some
do you want me to grab you?
No, I think I have enough. Okay. And they're not really necessary. They're just kind of good to have.
Yeah.
This edge, you really don't want to dry out. And so for right now, we're going to put a tip on there.
Which tip do you want?
My basic tip I always use is like a size 4. Now we're going to mix up the colors.
Okay.
When you're doing this, you always want to keep this covered.
Your frosting.
The frosting, because the drying out is your enemy on this frosting, because it will dry hard. And if it dries hard when you're working with it, it's going to get crusty, and then it can clog up your little tips. Let's think about what colors we're going to do. Red, green, black.
Black for the
So
Santa
like Santa's
buttons.
belt and buttons and eyes and things like that.
Okay.
So a little bit of black. That black we probably don't need to do thinner. When you do a cookie, you usually have a thick, regular strength frosting for the outline and the embellishments. And then you do what's called a flood. And that's the softer stuff that you
Fill it
filling.
in.
Flood it. And,
Okay.
and then you have to let that kind of dry. So we'll probably need to look at that video again. But let's just go through the colors right at the moment. So this one's, I hope this is red. Red is the hardest color to color
Why?
because it takes a lot of food coloring to make it a very vibrant red.
Oh.
Like if I put that much green food coloring, that's enough green food coloring to color the whole house. I mean, you barely need any green.
Oh,
But
so
you need
red
a ton
is
of red.
okay.
So,
Okay.
and I like these offset spatulas.
I don't have any of those. I'm gonna have to look for those.
They're my best friend. Useful. See how that's getting there, but it's still not that red.
That looks very red.
I was gonna say looks pretty red to me, but
Okay, we're gonna do it a little bit. Then we're gonna call it a day. And then we're gonna save half of this in a bag, full strength, and then we're gonna do half for the flood part. There are different schools of thought and different levels of flood icing. Like this one right here, if you like let it drop and then count to see how long it takes to disappear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, it's not really disappearing. It's just still sort of floating there. So it's a little bit stiff, but not too stiff. Some people like to do some that's a little stiff like this, and then some that's a little thinner. All right, well, this cookie, we're first going to start with the white, and we're going to do a foundation of white. Actually, we're going to use the red too, and we're going to make a little wreath.
okay.
We're going to cross our fingers that it works. Maybe we should watch the video, but
No,
anyway. All right, so what I do first to kind of give like a little, like a dam, is outline it in the
Come down here, mamas.
white.
Oh, Sophie.
Can you go get her, please? Thank you. Come downstairs, mamas.
So just literally draw it through.
Oh my gosh, that's so pretty.
I should have put maybe more dots. And then
That is so pretty.
I need some more of that.
Yeah, we're probably gonna need a lot more of it.
It's okay, it's white, it's easy. And you just get your cookie and you just,
Oh, you dump it that way.
and looks just like magic.
Oh my gosh, that looks so cute. So we played with the different colors that Cindy made. It was so fun. And then I borrowed Cindy's gingerbread cookie recipe, which is a Martha Stewart recipe. I made my own royal icing. Cindy left me the sprinkles to use, and I went to Michael's and I bought all the nozzles and stuff and made some cookies.